This week I spoke with Cheryl Ryder, the woman behind the fabulously named Dribble Delights range of allergy-free foods for babies and toddlers. And then, within 24 hours, Cheryl had heard she'd been awarded £20,000 to develop her brand further. In the first of a two-part interview, Cheryl told me what led to inspiration striking.
It's all started because of my children. I have 3 children who are aged 5, just nearly 4 and 2.5, and they all have a dairy intolerance, and my oldest can't have certain levels of wheat, soya and eggs. So food in our household has been pretty stressful, and as each child came along, I thought it was going to get easier and easier, but I was just actually surprised at the lack of products and lack of choice out there. And through my personal experience, I thought there has to be an easier way. There has to be a way to help each other and bring products to market that parents and grandparents need.
Talk us through what perhaps a typical mealtime was like then.
I've got 3 children, and it all happened at various stages for them. And if I talk about Sophie, I breastfed her, and then I was doing all the right things, making my own food and following the advice of the midwives and the doctors. But she was always crying a lot, not sleeping very well at night. She had awful colic, so we were trying various things, and her skin was very irritable, very sensitive skin, and she had eczema patches, so we were going back and forth to the doctors to try different creams to sort this patch out or that patch out. Meal times were very hard. You were trying to come up with all new varieties, with young babies, but it came to a head when she was 9 months, and that resulted in a trip to the hospital. And from there we found out that trying to eliminate dairy, and that started us on a journey of trying to find products that were suitable. The biggest thing for me at that point was her milk. As you're going down the journey of trying to eliminate certain things, you then start being worried about, are they getting enough nutrients? Are they getting enough vitamins? Am I feeding them the right amount? Everything. So meal times have got slightly easier, slightly better. It just involves more preparation and more forward thinking. You can't do things quickly. It takes time. So it's been tough. It's been really tough.
How were the NHS able to help?
I have to say that my experiences weren't the best. Every time I would go to the doctors, I would speak to them about this symptom or that, and they just tended to deal with trying to fix that immediate problem. So nobody really looked at the history. Nobody really tried to help me work through all of the different stages to try and help me figure things out. So we did speak to dietitians, we did speak to midwife, and we did speak to doctors, but the communication across all of them, it was difficult. I didn't have the best experiences there, to be honest.
That's a great shame. And while you were dealing with that with Sophie, then you had a couple of other children as well with similar issues. Yeah. Did the experience of one help the other one? Were you putting all of these kind of clues together, or were you getting a little overwhelmed by it all?
Oh, don't get me wrong, there was definite moments of lots of crying and wondering, am I doing the best? And I talk about Sophie, and at 9 months things come into a head. With Craig, I noticed a lot quicker, and I would say at 5 months I started to notice the changes in his nappy. And then with Callum, our youngest, it actually started when he was 3 months old. And at that point, I was speaking to the health visitors, and I was talking to them about what milk to change them onto and everything like that. But Craig especially had terrible skin conditions just up and around his neck, lots of eczema patches that once they took a hold, it took a long time for it to clear up. So it's not nice seeing your wee one in distress. So you're just keeping going and trying to help them as much as possible.
So then what was it? You were putting 2 and 2 together and coming up with 4, that there perhaps was a common link with all of this, that maybe food was either the cause or food could be the solution. Is that right?
Yes. Again, if I use the example of Sophie, we took her to a dietitian. I sat and went through all of the food diary and all the symptoms and everything. And the dietitian was doing great, saying, yes, you're getting the calcium here, the iron here, fabulous. But I was just one day looking at her skin, she always had wee patches on her cheeks that never ever seemed to clear up. And I'm like, I'm still missing things. And I then read up on goat's cheese and found out that the same proteins as in ordinary cow's cheese actually is in goat's cheese. So as soon as I cut the goat's cheese out, her cheeks cleared up. So I then realised that it was the cow's milk protein that my children couldn't have, and that's what was triggering it. So it was me looking at each and every single symptom, trying to find out, speaking to whoever I could, doctors or health visitors, dietitians, trying to see if they could help me, but only me, I could see the whole picture.
Sounds as though you're a fantastic mum and doing all of that detective work and kind of eliminating everything. When you went to the store to look for ranges of baby food and so on, what were you coming up against? What were the problems?
It was the variety. My children also started to develop certain attitudes towards food. They started to be scared of white food or creamy looking food because they associated that with sore tummies.
And this was at what age that they were making that link?
I definitely noticed it in Sophie, and it was about 1.5, 2.
Oh, good heavens. So before they could actually speak properly and formulate a sense of telling you that they would just, push the plate away, they would cry as soon as they saw that visual clue that this was what was making them feel unwell. Yeah,
definitely. It's only now when I look back with clear vision, if that makes sense, because you would just try different things, and then I fell into a pattern of just feeding my children safe food. So I wasn't experimenting with food. Food wasn't fun, it was stressful. I dreaded meal times and thinking, what am I going to feed them? How am I going to be adventurous? I just used to feed them fish one night, chicken one night, pasta one night, and then I would start again the fish, chicken and pasta, and I just thought, this is all wrong.
And presumably all the while that was going on, thinking, well, hold on, this is calming the situation, but long term I can't carry on with this because it's such a limited diet.
Absolutely. And you're worried about getting all of the right things that they need to grow, and you're constantly just worried. And then when you would find a new product, you'd be like, fabulous, that's great, this is just what I need. And it was, just shopping was just a nightmare, checking for shelves and checking for ingredients and just trying to see what was out there.
Okay, so in your story, where are we now? What year are we in up to this point before the light bulb idea suddenly came to you?
It was at my daughter's 4th birthday. My sister came to the rescue and made her chocolate cake that she could eat that was completely and utterly dairy free. And all it was she had put some lovely icing around it. We had put a Barbie in the middle, and my wee girl had a princess birthday cake. And she was utterly, utterly delighted because she had never had a special cake like that. She'd only ever had we always try to not have cakes or anything like that at birthdays previously. And seeing her face just light up, that was when I had the light bulb moment.
But I guess before that light bulb came on, you what was your reaction when you saw her face beaming over those 4 candles on that cake?
I was almost crying. In fact, I'm tearing up. As silly as it sounds, I'm tearing up just now because it really was just a fantastic moment that my wee girl at 4 years could have a pink princess cake and just eat and enjoy it just like any other child. And that was the moment.
And in next week's episode, more from Cheryl Ryder of Dribble Delights on researching and developing the brand and also what happens next. You can follow Cheryl on Twitter at Dribble Delights, of course.
This is GFree Radio.